Hello, my name is Todd Rawlings and you're with Cordial Conversations. As you know, with my newly formed channel, things are pretty much off the cuff. I'm not looking at writing things down and bringing them, and I'm not good at editing yet. So I'll just ask you to be patient, and now and then I may make a little mistake as I talk, but I just wanted to share some things as we're looking at the news today. We have the situation in Afghanistan, and it is a mess. The last count, there were 12 servicemen killed. We don't know yet the number of fatalities from friends of ours within Afghanistan or the people that have worked with us. We don't know. What we do know is that we are being slapped around by a terrorist organization, the United States of America. We're embarrassed on the world stage, and of course the main thing is that there's lives that have been lost. However, I wanted to address something as we look at this that we have got as Americans to keep in our minds and keep up front. As this dominates the news, as well it should, we cannot forget the other things going on. And right now I want to address, it's not the popular topic, but our border. Now, what we have seen is a group of terrorists that are willing to strap a bomb to their chest and go and kill as many Americans as they possibly can. Now, you have to understand that these people are proud to do it. It does not matter at all. They are glad. They think they will be rewarded in the afterlife for the people that they've killed. We have seen terrorists now run into buildings at 9/11 and kill Americans. They do not mind taking their own lives in any way. Well, now we have a group of terrorists, and maybe several groups. We don't know who else has come into Afghanistan now, what other terrorist group, to find a safe haven. And not only are they murdering Americans, but they are doing it with our equipment. I saw one picture of a Taliban pilot in an Apache helicopter, and they now have that. That's an amazingly dangerous weapon, but they have it. And when we send other troops there, or more troops, if in fact we do, that helicopter may cost a lot more of our servicemen's lives. But I want you to think about this, because we can't lose focus of everything else that's taking place. At our border, it is estimated there will be 2 million illegal aliens coming to this country. Now think about that, 2 million. That is 2 million people. We don't know their names. We don't know who they're involved with, what group. We don't know if they're a terrorist or not. Now, you know, when President Trump said that a lot of these people may be murderers and rapists, he was roasted over the fire by the liberal media. And there was this thing within this group of elites who are trying to take over our country, that you can just go hold hands with Iranians and Taliban and sing kumbaya and everything we find. Just be nice to them. Just be nice. But these are people that will gladly give up their lives. So I want you to think about this of 2 million. Worst case scenario, let's say 500,000 of them are terrorists. Now that is not an impossibility. If you yourself were looking to wage war in the United States, if you hated the United States and all we stand for, wouldn't it be a good strategy to just send people into Mexico and then let them walk into our country? I mean, we might as well just put them on a plane. Just have a plane coming from Afghanistan to the United States. You don't need a passport. You don't need an ID. You don't need anything. Just come. We won't bother you. When you get here, we may even put you up for a little while. I'm not sure why we as Americans cannot see the same thing happening at our border. So 500,000. Imagine if 500,000 of these people, not just the Taliban, it could be any terrorist group, come into the United States through our border unchecked, undocumented, what would that be like? And what kind of a strategy would they have to take 500,000 people and send them through the United States? Some of them armed with weapons that had made in the USA on them. What kind of havoc could they wreak? When you look right now at what's happening in Afghanistan, imagine the people if they just put a bomb to their chest, walked up through their border. What could 500,000 people who are willing to die and sacrifice themselves, what could they do? We would be at war, and we would watch Americans die. Now, I said 500,000. You may say that's ridiculous. Okay, say there's 100,000. 100,000 people. And what if you were one of those states at the border? 100,000 people coming from another country that is no much as shown an ID. And here they come. So you say, well, that's ridiculous. Let's say 10,000. 10,000 out of 2 million. Let's say 5,000 out of 2 million. Let's go on to say 1,000 out of 1 million. What if 1,000 terrorists come up through our border, undocumented, unchecked, and remember, illegally? So, you get certain politicians and all will say, oh, they're just looking for a better life. Maybe so. There may be 1.9 million that are just looking for a better life, and that it would be nice if we could help them get that. But what if there's 1,000? What if there's 1,000 armed? I mean, it's not like they're even being checked to see if they have any weapons. Literally, you could take a small army and march them into our country. And I hope, if nothing else, that this thing in Afghanistan shows what the people that we are dealing with are like. And I hope it shows the people just how our current administration is not prepared to deal with such things. So think of 1,000 people. Those 1,000 people come to your state. Or a tenth of them, 100 of them come to your state. So how do you feel if you heard that 100 Taliban were coming to our country tomorrow? We've got to realize that is a possibility. And these are people that can walk into a building, blow themselves up, walk into a stadium, or if you want to have a certain strategy, they can go into tunnels, into airports. And we would be devastated. Years ago, we had the Washington shooter, get exactly what they nicknamed him, but he was simply going to gas stations and shooting people, and he shot a handful. It was horrible. But at that time, and I remember being in D.C., people pumping their gas, hiding behind cars, afraid that this one person was going to pick them out and shoot them. Well, let's say there's 100 of them now in Washington, D.C. It'll freeze our country. We will see Americans killed, and they will be happy to do it. We have got to learn to take the dangers in this world seriously. We have a country, Iran, who is trying to get nuclear weapons. And what do? We had an administration that took piles of money and sent it to them in the middle of the night. We don't know what they built. They may put it right into their nuclear program. So in this whole thing about, if you say America first, you're this horrible person, you're a racist, we want to kick you out of the country. How do people talk like that? But we have to understand what a nuclear warhead with a terrorist means. With other countries, they don't want to shoot off a nuclear warhead because we would destroy their entire country. These people consider it an honor to die in that way. So, it's a tragic day in this country. We had just gone through a season of years where a president said Americans first. And within a matter of months, Americans are not first. any longer. That's not the goal. People coming through the border are first. Illegal aliens are first. Terrorists are first. And not only are we allowing this to happen, but we are arming them. So we live in a country that we don't think it can happen, a war from another country on our soil. But it could very well be right around the corner. And it's too late then. So we've traded in a president that was hard on Russia, hard on China, hard on the Taliban, wanted a wall at the border, and we mocked him. We made fun of him. He was a racist, he was a bigot, he was a liar, he was all of these things. But he protected us. He helped to protect us. At times when we vote for president, I'm going to stop here because I'm rambling, but when we do, people will say it doesn't matter. The president can only do so much anyway. Well, now we're seeing what a president can do. Open up our borders, bring our military out and leave Americans who may die, and we can see war in this United States of America. So we need to take count. And I'll just add real quick, I mentioned if there's 1,000 of the 2 million, there may be 2,000, maybe 5, maybe 10,000, maybe 50,000. Why wouldn't they? It's an open invitation. Come on in. We stop building the wall. Come on in. Someone can send a small army up our southern border. But let's say it's 50,000. Well, let's say then of those 2 million, there's also another 300,000, I'm just picking numbers, who have the Delta variants of COVID. And they're spread out the country. There could be mass dyings, murders taking place in our country in a very short time. So really, all you have to do, here it is. Again, it's no different than saying, hey, we're going to send 20 planes over. Everybody wants to come to the United States. Come on in. It's the same thing in the border. So, of 2 million, 25,000 are terrorists, and 25,000 have not only COVID, but who knows what may have happened. And another 25,000 that are gang members. Another 1,000 that are murderers. Out of 2 million, 2 million is a lot of people. What would happen? So I think that we need to understand that America is at war. But unfortunately, there are people that have been put in leadership positions in this country that it may be that they are not even friends of the United States. They hate us, they hate our ways. For whatever reason, they've done these things. And this is just in a matter of months. What's going to happen within the next 4 years? The lives of Americans and our way of life is in danger. So, thank you for tuning in. Please hit subscribe and the like button. I'm just getting started, and so please be patient with me. And anything you say, please let it be cordial, as I will try to as well. Thank you very much, and we need to pray for America. We need to pray for people now that are dying on foreign land. We need to bind together. Stop arguing, stop calling names, and just pray for protection. Thank you very much.